right? And I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. Why would this be the case? Kai Cenat, the guy that was in the crowd crying to NBA YoungBoy's music. Now NBA YoungBoy's gonna take his girl? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't add up.
This didn't tiptoe onto the timeline. It crash landed. 1 minute, the internet was arguing about nothing. And the next minute, Kai Cenat allegedly went from jokes to sirens, flipping the switch so hard it rattled group chats worldwide. Ta-da! Rumor whispered in comments, not a coy subtweet. This felt like a secret that slipped out of a locked drawer and sprinted straight into the spotlight. Then came the name nobody expected to be dragged into streamer chaos: NBA YoungBoy. That's when the temperature spiked. Because when hip-hop gravity collides with streaming stardom, the blast radius doubles. Screenshots flew, clips got looped, captions did the absolute most. And suddenly everyone had the same question. How? Did this get so big, so fast? This wasn't a neat story with clean edges. This was confusion mixed with ego, whispers mixed with receipts, energy, and reactions louder than facts. The kind of drama that makes the Kardashians look like they settle things via email. And once Kai's tone shifted from playful to nuclear, the internet leaned in like it smelled smoke. Nothing about this situation unfolded like normal internet drama. And that's exactly why it blew up the way it did. This wasn't a slow burn rumor that lived in comment sections for weeks before catching fire. It was instant combustion. One moment, everything felt like regular streaming chaos. And the next moment, the internet was whispering the same thing. In every corner. Something personal leaked. Someone got emotional, and the vibe shifted fast. Kai Cenat has built his brand on high energy, jokes, and controlled chaos. His streams are loud, unpredictable, and designed to feel like nothing is ever that serious. Viewers immediately clocked that this time was different. The tone wasn't playful. The reaction wasn't bait. It felt raw, impulsive, and personal in a way audiences weren't used to seeing from him. When emotions cross that line on a public platform, the internet leans in aggressively. Fans started replaying clips, slowing down moments, analyzing tone, like it was a court transcript. The question wasn't just what happened, it was why Kai looked like someone had crossed a line that couldn't be UNCROSE. Then came the name that escalated everything: NBA YoungBoy. The moment his name entered the conversation, Stopiation stopped being streamer drama and turned into a full-blown collision of internet culture and hip-hop mythology. His name doesn't drift into stories casually. It carries weight, history, and automatic controversy. What made the situation explode was how unclear everything felt. There was no official explanation, no clear timeline, and no single source everyone could point to. Just fragments. Side comments, reactions, alleged whispers about a girlfriend, and crossed boundaries. And fragments are dangerous online because they don't calm people. They multiply narratives. Fans immediately split into camps. One side believed Kai's reaction alone proved something serious had happened. The other side warned against jumping to conclusions without receipts. That split happened instantly, and once the internet chooses sides, logic usually exits the room quietly. The speculation grew legs fast. Group chats filled with theories. Social feeds became detective boards. People started trying to reconstruct timelines from unrelated clips and old posts. Anything that could remotely connect dots was treated like evidence. This is how the internet turns. Uncertainty into confidence without facts. Kai's emotional reaction became the centerpiece of the story. Supporters argued his energy looked genuine, not manufactured. They pointed to tone, facial expressions, and body language as proof of betrayal. Critics pushed back, saying emotions don't equal confirmation, especially when millions are watching. Both arguments went viral, and neither required proof to survive. The presence of NBA YoungBoy's name made things messier, not clearer. His history meant people immediately dragged old narratives into the present. Past controversies resurfaced. Old headlines got recycled. Context disappeared. Once the internet senses a pattern, it doesn't check whether the pattern actually exists. Memes followed quickly, but they weren't lighthearted. They were side-eye memes, awkward jokes, and reaction edits that tried to process discomfort through humor. When jokes feel tense instead of funny, it's a sign the story has crossed into uncomfortable territory. The lack of direct responses from key people only intensified speculation. Silence online is never neutral. Some fans treated it as strategy, others treated it as guilt. Others insisted speaking would only make things worse. The truth is, no response ever satisfies the internet once speculation starts rolling. Reaction channels jumped in almost immediately. Every creator with an opinion hit record, breaking down energy, wording, and timing like this was a courtroom. Drama. Some framed Kai as reacting from genuine hurt. Others argued the situation was being blown out of proportion by live reactions and audience pressure. The takes were loud, confident, and contradictory. The alleged girlfriend aspect added fuel because relationship drama invites projection. Viewers inserted their own experiences into the story, making it personal even without confirmation. Once people emotionally relate to a rumor, it stops being a rumor to them. It becomes truth by feeling. What made this phase especially volatile was how fast the narrative outgrew the facts. At this point, nobody really knew what happened, but everyone felt like they did. That's the most dangerous stage of internet drama, when confidence exists without information. The situation stopped being about one alleged incident and turned into a referendum on loyalty, betrayal, and respect. Kai's character was debated. NBA YoungBoy's name was dragged through assumptions. Everyone involved became symbols instead of people. Nuance disappeared completely. As the noise grew, the original issue became almost irrelevant. The story wasn't about what allegedly happened anymore. It was about reactions, interpretations, and which version of events felt more believable. That's when control fully disappeared. Even casual viewers started to feel the shift. What initially felt like messy drama started to feel uncomfortable. The energy changed from entertainment to tension. The kind of tension that doesn't resolve quickly because nobody has the full story. This wasn't the peak of the situation. It was the ignition point. The moment when a personal issue escaped private space and collided with millions of viewers in real time. Once that happens, the internet doesn't let go easily. By the end of this phase, one thing was clear. This wasn't going to fade quietly. Once a streamer goes nuclear and a rap icon's name gets pulled in, the internet refreshes and waits. Something bigger was coming, whether anyone wanted it or not. Once the story escaped the first wave of shock, it didn't settle down, it mutated. The internet shifted from reacting to narrating, and narration online is where facts go to retire early. People weren't just asking what allegedly happened anymore, they were deciding what it meant. And meaning is far more dangerous than information. When millions of strangers start assigning it at the same time, the spotlight locked back onto Kai Cenat, not just for what he allegedly reacted to, but for how he reacted. Every clip got looped, zoomed, slowed down, and analyzed like a Zapruder film for streaming culture. Supporters said the emotion looked real, unfiltered, and impossible to fake. Skeptics countered that live reactions don't equal truth, especially when adrenaline and audience pressure collide. Both sides spoke like they were experts. Then the collision with hip-hop gravity really kicked in. The moment NBA YoungBoy stayed in the conversation without clarification, the stakes doubled. His name doesn't just trend, it pulls history behind it. Old headlines resurfaced. Past controversies were dragged forward like they had a reservation. Context evaporated, and everything started to look connected. Whether it was or not, memes took over the middle ground between outrage and confusion. Not the harmless kind, but the nervous humor that shows up when people don't know how to process tension. Reaction faces, dramatic captions, jokes comparing the situation to reality TV finales that no one asked for. People joked that this made celebrity drama look like a crossover episode written by the algorithm itself. Laughter became a pressure valve. Reaction channels multiplied fast. Every creator with a mic treated this like breaking news, adding layers of speculation wrapped in confident delivery. Some framed Kai's reaction as the moment a private betrayal spilled into public view. Others argued the entire thing was being inflated by echo chambers feeding off each other. The louder the takes, the more they spread. Public outrage fractured, instead of uniting. One corner of the internet accused people of weaponizing rumors and turning alleged relationship drama into content. Another corner insisted that emotional reactions don't come from nothing and should be taken seriously. The arguments weren't about facts anymore, they were about belief systems. Once belief replaces evidence, debates become endless. The girlfriend angle intensified everything because relationship allegations invite projection. Viewers inserted their own experiences, betrayals, and assumptions into the narrative. To them, the story felt familiar, and familiarity breeds certainty. That emotional attachment made it harder for the conversation to slow down. Even without confirmation, silence from anyone perceived as central became suspicious by default. In digital culture, not responding is treated as strategy at best and guilt at worst. Some fans argued that speaking would only fuel rumors. Others insisted silence let speculation run wild. The truth is, no response ever satisfies the internet once it's locked into a story. Old posts and unrelated clips were repurposed as context. Statements that had nothing to do with the present were reframed as clues. This is how online hindsight works. It edits the past to make the present feel inevitable. Once people decide there's a pattern, every coincidence becomes evidence. Pop culture comparisons flooded timelines. Some likened the situation to celebrity feuds that started small and spiraled into documentaries nobody needed. Others joked it felt like a soap opera episode where every character misunderstands each other at the same time. The sarcasm masked unease, because beneath the jokes was the sense that things were spiraling without control. The media tiptoed carefully, layering coverage with allegedly and unconfirmed. That caution didn't calm audiences, it fueled suspicion. When coverage slows down, people assume something bigger is happening behind the scenes. Restraint gets misread as concealment in internet logic. As the noise grew, moral debates popped up everywhere. Some argued private matters should stay private, regardless of fame. Others insisted public figures surrender privacy when their lives become brands. These debates sounded thoughtful, but they didn't slow engagement. Ethics never trend as hard as chaos. The most dangerous shift happened quietly when allegedly started disappearing from conversations. Speculation hardened into assumption. Assumption turned into certainty. That's the point where correction becomes nearly impossible because people don't want updates. They want confirmation of what they already believe. Casual viewers grew. Tired, what started as shock turned into fatigue. People didn't know what to believe anymore, but they knew the situation felt messy and unresolved. That fatigue didn't kill engagement. It changed its tone. Less curiosity, more cynicism. More side eyes than deep dives. Behind all the noise, consequences began stacking quietly. Reputations don't need proof to take damage. Doubt is enough. Even if the story fades, the association sticks. That's the hidden cost of viral speculation. It lingers long after timelines move on. The situation stopped belonging to the people involved and became public property. Every repost reshaped it. Every caption reinterpreted it. Context dissolved. Intent flattened. Control was gone. Once that happens, the story moves on its own, dragging everyone along by the end of this phase. One thing was undeniable. The chaos wasn't peaking. It was settling into something more permanent. The internet had chosen this story as a reference point. And reference points don't disappear quickly. This wasn't resolution. It was escalation. The moment rumor turns into reputation risk, and nobody involved can pull the brakes anymore. And once that line is crossed, a fallout doesn't wait for facts. The fallout didn't arrive with a bang. It settled like fog. Loud reactions faded, but the tension stayed suspended in the air, heavier because it never fully cleared. That's how online damage really works. Once the internet decides something feels real, it doesn't need proof to keep believing it. The volume drops, but the assumptions stay. For Kai Cenat, the aftermath reshaped how audiences read his energy. Fans who once tuned in for chaos and laughs started rewatching moments through a different lens. Emotion that once felt entertaining now felt risky. Every future reaction risked being interpreted as another spiral, another signal, another confirmation of something never actually confirmed. The pressure of being live in front of millions became part of the conversation itself. People debated whether streaming culture leaves too little room for private conflict. Some argued that real emotions shouldn't be dissected by strangers. Others countered that when everything happens on camera, nothing stays private. Both takes felt valid, and neither offered a solution. The situation also quietly reframed the way people talked about accountability. Not legal accountability, but narrative accountability. Who owes explanations? Who deserves privacy? Who benefits from silence? These questions don't have clean answers online, but they stick around long after trends fade. NBA YoungBoy remained a looming presence in the aftermath, even without direct involvement or response. His name alone carried enough weight to keep the story circulating. That's the strange power of association. Once a name is attached to a rumor, detaching it is nearly impossible, even if nothing concrete ever surfaces. The lack of closure frustrated everyone. No receipts dropped. No definitive statements appeared. No clean ending arrived to tell the internet it was time to move on. Unfinished stories linger longer than resolved ones, especially when audiences feel emotionally invested. Mystery becomes its own form of content. As days passed, the conversation shifted from outrage to reference. People stopped arguing and started mentioning. The story became shorthand, a cautionary tale about streaming emotions live, a reminder of how fast speculation snowballs, a moment people casually referenced when discussing how quickly fame fractures. Under pressure, behind the scenes, consequences likely stacked quietly. Not in headlines, but in subtle shifts. Invitations that didn't come. Collaborations that paused. Conversations that slowed down. None of that trends, but all of it matters. Reputation damage doesn't announce itself, it whispers. Audience behavior changed too. Some fans doubled down, defending every mention and rejecting any criticism. Others drifted away, uncomfortable with the constant cloud of speculation. Neutral viewers grew more cynical, seeing the entire saga as another example of how the internet chews up ambiguity and spits out judgment. What this moment exposed most clearly was how little control anyone has once speculation takes over. A reaction, a rumor, and a name were enough to fuel weeks of conversation. No evidence required. No confirmation necessary. Attention did the rest. The irony is that the internet eventually moved on, because it always does. New drama replaced old drama. New faces trended. New scandals filled timelines. But this moment didn't disappear. It embedded itself. It became part of the background narrative surrounding everyone involved. Future streams, posts, or mentions now carry invisible context. Audiences remember even when creators wish they wouldn't. That's the quiet cost of viral controversy. It doesn't need to trend forever to matter. In the end, this wasn't a story defined by truth or lies. It was defined by uncertainty and reaction, by how quickly emotions on camera become evidence in the court of public opinion. By how easily people fill gaps with imagination when facts are missing. This chapter didn't close with clarity or resolution. It closed with tension, doubt, a lingering sense that something private collided with something public, and neither survived cleanly. And in the internet age, that's often the final form of a scandal. If this whole situation had you staring at your screen, like, how did this even get here? Then, congratulations, you've just witnessed how fast the internet turns personal moments into public spectacles. One reaction, one rumor, one name dropped at the wrong time, and suddenly, a situation that should have stayed private becomes content for millions. Fame doesn't protect you anymore. It puts a spotlight on every crack. Now I want to hear from you, because the comment section is where the real debate happens. Was this an emotional overreaction caught live, or proof that streaming culture leaves no room for private conflict? Do you think audiences should back off when emotions get real, or does going live mean everything is fair game? Drop your thoughts below, but keep it honest, because this conversation is bigger than just one headline. If this breakdown kept you locked in, smash that like button like it owes you money and just went offline. Subscribe if you want stories that don't just repeat what's trending, but break down why it trends, how it spirals, and who really pays the price when the cameras don't turn off. This channel isn't here to pick sides. It's here to expose how fast perception becomes damage. Because, let's be real, today it's a streamer meltdown and a rapper's name getting pulled into chaos. Tomorrow, it's someone else trending, for reasons nobody predicted. The internet doesn't slow down, and neither do these scandals. When the next moment explodes and timelines start melting, you'll already know where to find the full breakdown. This is Rap Truth, where viral drama gets dissected, fame gets questioned, and one live moment can change everything. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and remember, once the internet locks in, there's no rewind button.